What's up, guys? Welcome to the GamePlan podcast. I'm Peter.
I'm Vincent.
And I'm Henry.
Let's get into this week's episode.
All right, NFL free agency has started. So far, how would you grade the Giants free agency?
You know, I can't give it above a B as of right now because we've yet to make a quarterback move. And once that move has been made, obviously at this point it looks like it's between Rodgers and Russ. Worst case scenario would be Flacco or Winston, but Winston would be there for the vibes. We all know Winston would be there for the vibes, but realistically would be terrible for our team. But out of everything that's happened so far, I'll give it an A. But for the Giants, overall, as of right now, a B, because if I'm Joe Shane and Dable, just make the move on Russ. It's clear Rodgers has no idea what he wants to do, and if he's so uncertain, what makes it seem like he's going to be happy when he makes a decision and he's with either us or Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with your rating at A. I think Shane, his aggressive approach last year transitioned into this year as well. He's been pretty aggressive, I would say. He got a Debo, he got a Holland, and he got Chauncey Goldstein, and then he brought back Slane. He addressed the problems he needed to address. I mean, our DBs were horrific last season. Deontay Banks. You cannot go into another season with Deontay Banks, the cornerback one.
No.
You got a Debo, who could easily be cornerback one. As he's only 25.
Especially when healthy.
He's still entering his prime. And then you got Holland to pair with Newman. I think he's done a wonderful job this season. Initially I thought Slayton was overpaid, but after I saw what Josh Palmer got and just the market, this free agency, I think it was good for him to come back as a vet and
a good locker room guy.
I want us to get Russ. But at the end of the day, I think we will get Russ just because Aaron Rodgers is delusional and he's visiting with us. Russ is visiting with the Giants Friday, and we'll see by then. I think Russ will sign Friday. That's my prediction.
Well, I agree with you on that, but I'm going to grade the Giants with a B+, obviously, because of the quarterback position. But I like the re-signs that they had with Greg Van Roten and obviously Darius Slayton. I think those are two great locker room veterans you have. But overall, I think the rest of them, like Holland and Adebo, I think those are great improvements to the secondary. And that was something that we needed to address big time. But I think Joe Shane really needs to go out and get Russell Wilson because I don't know what you said, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Last time when he was getting traded to the Jets, he took a long time. But I don't feel like waiting for him. I think Russell Wilson might be the best option there. And if Russell Wilson doesn't sign, then you have to go get Jameis Winston, in my opinion.
I also think that at this point, no other moves can be made until the quarterback is figured out. No. Because, again, having Russ... so most likely we're going to end up getting a quarterback, whether it is Ward, we trade up, whether it's Shador, and we stay at 3.
Or we trade back.
And get Dart. Or we take Dart at 3. I mean,
it's endless possibilities.
I wouldn't love it, but it's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
My point being is that, all these quarterbacks have different play styles, right? Yeah. So if we bring in Rodgers, the scheme is going to be different than Russ.
Yeah.
And certain guards are better for certain schemes, and certain wide receivers are also better for certain schemes. Because we undoubtedly need another guard, even though we brought back Greg Van Roten, James Hudson, and Stone Smythe, I think is how you say his last name.
I think that's his name.
Or something along the lines of that.
Yeah. I like you said James Hudson, right?
Yeah, but
I like that. I like that pickup.
The point is that we need to make the decision fast because guards are flying off the market, and the only 3 that are left that I think are worth signing, if not just wait till the draft, are Will Hernandez, which would be a reunion, even though I wanted the Kevin Zeitler reunion, who's a vet, and then you have Mekhi Becton and Jedrick Willis, who. We're both actually taken after Andrew Thomas in the NFL draft, only a few picks later. So
I think both of those guys would be good fits for us, especially if you address the guard position in free agency. But I could also see them waiting till the draft.
I could definitely see them waiting till the draft
because of cap reasons. But I don't know. Like you were mentioning this earlier today to me, the wide receiver position too. Are we really going to Are we going to trust going in with Darius Slayton as our wide receiver 2 again, and do we need another guy?
Well, I'll tell you this. Trading back I really like trading back because I don't know if we're in the position where we can use one of our thirds or our second on a receiver. We still need interior offensive linemen. We still need a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
We still need cornerback depth, which we don't have. That's why I think if we trade back to 10, select Dart with 10, and then use one of those picks we get in the later rounds for a wide receiver, Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, I love. We have Isaiah Bond from Texas who might fall at this point. There's some sneaky good receivers you can find, but really past the third round, it's not crazy talent. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the quarterback situation because that really is everything at this point.
I mean, yeah, it is everything. What we do at the quarterback position will determine what we do with the rest of free agency.
I don't know if I want Rodgers mentoring my rookie quarterback. Just to point that out there, I don't know if I want him mentoring my rookie quarterback.
Going back to what I was saying, if we sign Rodgers, we have less additions that we can make because he's going to cost more than Russ. 100%. If we add Russ, we can splurge more on like a guard, maybe like Mikey Becton, Brendan Scherf. No.
Not
what
are you gonna say?
Will Hernandez.
No,
I don't want Will Hernandez.
I don't know. It's possible though. I'm just listing possible.
Yeah, but
And don't forget the receivers. Diggs is still available.
Yeah.
I mean.
I don't want.
Cooper,
I don't want.
It's not about wanting or not.
Cup has been released.
Keenan Allen. I mean,
I don't know if I want Keenan Allen.
Well, it's not about really wanting. It's about would you rather have him or Jalen Hyatt? I'm taking all of them over Hyatt.
I guess so. Yeah.
So,
but for the quarterback position, would you guys
also Lockett if we get Russ too? Locking that could be an option.
For the quarterback position, just say like the worst case scenario, Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson both sign elsewhere. What would you guys take? Like, would you guys try and trade for Joe Milton for like a 4th or 5th round pick, maybe?
No.
No, not at all.
Personally, I would.
I think a 5th round pick would be.
I really like the way we don't have a 5th.
We don't have a 5th.
We don't have a. We have
we have a 4th. I don't.
No, we don't have a 6th. So we have 2 4ths. We don't have a 6th. So it would have to be a 5th. Sorry. But I would do it for a 5th. I don't know if New England would do that honestly.
I think the hype. There's too. The hype, he's overrated. There's a lot of hype, and he played one game.
Yeah, played one game, but his film at Tennessee is very good. His arm strength is off the charts. And honestly, if it comes down to that situation,
only if it comes down.
If it comes down to that situation, I'll just say that we're going to be picking with the number 1 overall pick. If we miss out on Russ and we miss out on Rodgers, Cam Ward, you're a New York Giant.
Yeah, 100%. Because we're trading up then. But overall, I think they got to address it soon. Obviously, with Russ visiting tomorrow, it's just a lot. You can't, like last year, you let him walk out of the building, and obviously right after he signed with the Steelers, and he honestly had a solid year with them, but I don't know what to expect. Obviously, he is aging, but for a 1-year deal.
Talk about aging. Rodgers is 41, 40.
Exactly. But I think Russ being like the veteran that our rookie QB could need would be a perfect fit, honestly. And I think that Russ could work well with the Brian Daboll offense. But we'll know it when he signs, and we'll see.
So let me ask you guys a question. Who do you think would be the best combination of vet and rookie quarterback, in your opinion?
With Neighbors?
No, I'm saying, so like, do you think that, for example, Russ and Dart, Rodgers and Cam? Like,
all right, let me just list out every. All right, for the people, let me just list out every vet option, every rookie option.
Well, vet, like the main vet option.
All right,
we're not listing like
So the vets, these are the options. You have Rodgers, Winston, and Russ are the options right now. Mm-hmm. So if you pick one of those and then pick a rookie or young quarterback, you have Ward, Sanders, Dart, or wait till next year and get Manning.
I don't know.
What is your ideal option there?
I don't know if I'm gonna wait. Like I think like a good thing is I really do like if we get Russell Wilson, I think that if we want to get more draft capital in this year's draft, we could trade back and then select Jackson Dart in like the mid of the first because I do like Jackson Dart a lot. So I think Russ and Dart could be a good combination. Even like I think Russ and Ward would work well together because I don't know if Russ and Shedeur would work well together because of Shedur's ego. I'm not going to lie.
That, in my opinion...
I don't think Russ and Shedeur would work well.
That's the most likely situation is Russ. In my opinion, Russ and Shedeur, like, if you're looking at betting odds of who's going to be, like, who would the most likely combo be, I think that the best odds would be Russ and Shedeur.
I would want, in my opinion, Russ and Ward.
It doesn't mean I want... in my opinion...
What would you want?
I would want... Russ. Like, what would I? Russ
in the event.
forget about like the situation of getting them. Like, just like they.
Well, let's make it this. If you get Manning, you're trading back this year, obviously.
Okay, so I think I would want Russ and Ward the most.
Me too.
But
I think Russ would
for the first, which I don't want to do.
I would do that, but like how much? That's the thing. Because like I think Russ would be a really good mentor for Ward, like really good.
Mm-hmm. And they have pretty similar playing styles as well. They're both not the tallest quarterback, and Russ used to be pretty mobile, but I would say they're pretty middle of the pack now. Not the craziest mobile. Rodgers is it's a statue, but. I really do think Russ and Shedeur is the most likely outcome. Really? I really do. Because I don't
think they like Shedeur.
Because in my opinion...
I don't think they like Shedeur. I really don't.
Because I just don't think that they want Rodgers. That's what they want.
Yeah, they want...
They want Rodgers and Shedeur. Rodgers and Ward.
I think they want... No. I think they want Rodgers and Dart. Because then they're more confident with Rodgers over Russ. And of course, they like Ward over Sanders. So if we go out and get Russ, they might still trade for the first pick, but I don't think they're going to feel comfortable doing that. So I think they're going to wait at 3 and get Sanders. I don't want that to happen.
Also, if you're saying like Rodgers, they get Rodgers
because also
a reason they might want Rodgers as well is because look at Jordan Love. Like, he did good while sitting behind Rodgers.
For like 2 years.
And now, if you get any of these rookie guys, maybe sitting behind Rodgers is a good thing. Or, like, he just got more delusional over the years.
Let me ask you a question. Actually, both of you. If we get Rodgers, who do you think... So, obviously, I think Ward's the best quarterback in this draft class. But that doesn't mean that Ward would be the best quarterback under Rodgers. It's not. That wouldn't mean... So, who do you think... Out of the 4 we listed, either Manning next year, which wouldn't really work because we're probably going to sign up to a 1-year contract if we get him. So I guess Dart, Sanders, and Ward. Out of those 3, who would work best with Rodgers?
Dart.
I agree. I think Dart too. I think Dart, if they had to do like an order, it'd be Dart, Ward, and Sanders. Because I think Rodgers wouldn't like Sanders' ego at all.
And
I don't think they would get along.
That'd be
honestly,
such a toxic room. I think.
I think that's the second most likely thing of happening. Yeah. I think if we get Russ,
I don't think with Shadeur's ego, he would like listen to Rodgers, and that would
little bit.
He would not.
But the thing is. I think that was what the Jets' vision was for Zach Wilson. I think they wanted when they got Aaron Rodgers, they wanted Zach Wilson to sit behind him for a year to see if Zach Wilson could develop and learn from Aaron Rodgers, and then start the following year or following 2 years, when however long he was on the team, what they visioned. But obviously that didn't happen with the injury, and they obviously shipped off Zach Wilson because they gave up on him, and that's it. But I think that what the Giants are trying to do is kind of similar. They want Rodgers and Ward, Rodgers and Dart, or Rodgers and Shedeur, whoever they end up with, and see if they sit behind him for like a year or two, if he can learn like Jordan Love did.
Well, it's also a big reason why they want to get a vet quarterback, because we've seen over the past 3 to 4 seasons that, majority of the time, with exception to Jaden Daniels and, I guess Drake May and Stroud, that throwing a rookie quarterback into the offense has not panned out. You look at Trey Lance, you look at Justin Fields in Chicago. I would even say Trevor. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the greatest quarterback. Zach Wilson, you have a lot of quarterbacks who were thrown in and are not on the same team they got drafted to. So, they're definitely going to get a rookie. Sorry, they're definitely going to get a vet. But I don't know if they're guaranteed to get one in the first round, a rookie quarterback. I don't know. I really don't know.
That's not their guarantee, because there's so many scenarios where they say they even have there's a chance to take Abdul Carter. They take Travis Hunter. It depends on I feel what shapes out in free agency up right before the draft. Obviously, if they get Aaron Rodgers, maybe they'll be all right, we don't have to trade up to 1, we can stay at 3, or maybe they can trade back because they trust enough that they're going to land Jackson Dart later on.
Well, also they clearly don't love this draft class. I was building up the point that they don't love this draft class. That's why they're so focused on getting Rodgers that
But
I don't think they love any. They don't love anybody.
well, I think, but they don't want to just throw a rookie QB into
that
into
too.
that.
But
That's what it is.
But they're not confident with any. They don't love Shadur. They don't love Ward. They don't love Dart.
Yeah.
Who knows about next year?
Well, we don't know if they love Ward. We know they don't love Shadur. And they like Ward over Shadur, but we don't know about Dart or like Ward.
Well, then if they loved Ward, don't you think they would have traded up for the first pick already?
Not yet. I mean, if I were the Titans, I wouldn't accept anything until before the draft.
Honestly, I agree.
I just went back in time and I looked a couple of days ago. Carolina traded for the first pick 3 days ago.
Really?
On March 10th.
Yeah, I remember that.
March 13th.
But take an example of like Caleb Williams. Like, I'm not saying he had a terrible season, but he didn't have the season that everyone thought he was going to have with the Bears and everything. How much better they were from the year prior. But he got thrown right into like what it was. They didn't have that good of an offensive line. He obviously struggled. He was like the only quarterback, on that roster. So their backup was Tyson Badger or whatever. They didn't have like a veteran in the locker room for the quarterbacks, and he got thrown into the mess. And obviously they started off good, but then eventually it just came all crashing down towards the end of the season.
That's another reason why I don't want Ward, because getting Ward essentially means you didn't land Russ or Rodgers, and you really want Joe Flacco mentoring quarterback.
Exactly, but I think the worst case scenario is that they either get Flacco or Winston, and I think they're going to end up with Russ.
So do I.
All right. To continue on NFL free agency, we're going to name the biggest winners and the biggest losers. All right, Peter, who are your biggest winners and losers?
My biggest winner in free agency so far is none other than the Denver Broncos, who have signed Evan Ingram, a huge weapon who is a good for 100 catches as a really good season as a tight end. He was top 5 in receptions last year, top 3 in tight ends. They got Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw to bolster up that top 3 defense that they had last year, which is amazing for them. They completely poached those 2 great 49ers players on defense. And then they bolster up with their own line with Matt Pert, ex-Giants legend.
Yep.
And I think their defense even got even better. And they gave Bo Nix a great weapon as a tight end, which he didn't have one already, to pair with Cortland Sutton in that offense. They lost Javonte Williams, but that's not going to really affect them. I think they might draft a running back or just maybe sign Nick Chubb even, but I think
Chubb is still out there.
Yeah. Imagine they get like Gentry. Imagine they trade up for Gentry. Or Marion Hampton from UNC is a stud too.
But yeah, I think the Broncos are one of my winners for so far.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Broncos are one of my winners too, but another winner I have are the Chicago Bears. They bolstered up their O-line by far, obviously helping out Caleb Williams as he was getting sacked a lot last year during every offensive possession. And they obviously improved their defense, signing a couple D tackles. They traded for Joe Thuney. They signed Jonah Jackson. They traded for Jonah Jackson. They got Josh Blackwell at corner. They got Chris Williams. And they signed Drew Dahlman, Tavarius Moore, Scott Daly.
It's a whole lot of offensive line.
And they got great. Obviously, immediately when Grady Jarrett got released by the Falcons, they brought in Grady Jarrett on 3 years, 43.
And Dayo Odeyingbo, I'll say that for you.
Yeah, please. But they bolstered up their defense and offense, and I think that they're a really big winner this year because obviously they were disappointed with the results they had when they had such big expectations. And that's it. But my other big winner, I think, is the New England Patriots. Obviously, they got the big free agent side, Milton Williams. And then didn't they get a tackle? Who's their tackle they got? I forgot.
Let me see.
I know they bolstered their O-line.
I have his face in my head, but I don't remember.
I know
his name.
Yeah,
Morgan Moses.
Yep, Morgan Moses. They brought in Carlton Davis, Harold Landry.
Robert
Spillane, Matt Collins, who had big moments in the playoffs for the Bills. That's a good free agent. That's a good free agency, especially Milton Williams, who was on the bench for Philly and still performing great.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think that was a terrible signing. He's making more money than Dexter Lawrence, which is an absolute joke. But my winner of free agency is none other than The Minnesota Vikings. They had a great free agency. They signed Will Fries to a 5-year, $88 million contract.
Big contract.
They also signed, trying to find it, Ryan Kelly. So a big point to emphasize is that Kelly, who was the center for the Colts, played alongside Fries, who's the guard for the Colts.
Yep.
They got brought over together, which is going to be huge for Minnesota's offensive line, who was,
who struggled a little bit towards the end of the year.
A lot towards the end of the year, especially in the playoffs. But hopefully Christian Darrisaw, who went down with an injury, can come back for them. Not to mention Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. Talk about a defensive line right there. That is scary.
Insane.
Bringing back Byron Murphy, also signing Isaiah Rodgers from Philly. And
they brought back Aaron
The one
Jones.
thing I think they did wrong is they extended Aaron Jones too much. 2 years, $20 million. I think that's a total overpay for a running back.
I agree.
He's injury prone, and he plays like 10 games a year maximum.
But you look at the offense,
he's aging, and he's just not that good anymore.
So they were 14-3. You look at the offense. What's the difference? Better offensive line, same everything else, different quarterback. Who knows how J.J. McCarthy's going to play?
Especially with his knee.
I mean, you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, a bolstered up offensive line, and Aaron Jones. Going to be pretty embarrassing. You can't work with that.
The improvements the defense has in the D-line too.
That's what they probably thought when you let Sam Darnold walk, is that we have so many weapons, it's really almost impossible to fail.
You don't need to sign him for 3 years, $100 million.
Plus, probably one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the league.
100%.
Yep,
and don't forget, the draft is still, and free agency hasn't
ended.
The draft is still
there.
coming up. I mean, they could look at another tackle. They could look at corner. They could look at
safety if they wanted
safety. They've re-signed Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
I think they did a fantastic job this offseason. And going to the biggest loser, and this should be a unanimous
decision, I think.
All decision is the San Francisco
49ers.
They lost everyone.
But I will say they do have 12 draft picks.
They do have a lot of draft picks.
So maybe that was their plan.
Wow, this is really bad.
Yeah.
Wait, do you want to hear who they signed?
Yeah.
All right, running back Patrick Taylor,
Jason Pinnock,
Jordan Mason.
Pinnock.
They brought in Pinnock, Luke Farrell, 3 years, $20 million. The tight end
contract.
who gets one catch a year.
Yeah.
3 years.
Demarcus Robinson,
and a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah. They lost Hargrave. They lost Aaron Banks, Elijah Mitchell, Hufanga, Greenlaw.
The list
can
don't
go
forget,
on.
they also technically lost Joey Bosa, had him signed for in agreement for a hot minute.
Joey Bosa went to the Bills, who I think is also having a great free agency and with retaining a bunch of core players bringing in new players.
The teams of the mid receivers are Buffalo and the Ravens. I've never seen anything like it. They're just mid city.
Dude, all they
Their
do.
receivers it's unbelievable.
The receivers are
Palmer, washed up D-Hop, Zay Flowers, mid. Like
Shakir.
I mean,
Shakir.
These are all solid players, but like, you want to win the Super Bowl. You're in that final push. Go out and make a move for DK. Go out and make a move for Godwin.
Josh Allen just won an MVP with Khalil Shakir at the wide receiver one.
Yep. Who said he would have won the Super Bowl if he had T. Higgins?
Exactly.
Go trade for T. Higgins.
T. Higgins is still technically on the market unless they don't want to extend. They can't extend him. They could trade him.
So is Cooper Kupp.
And Cooper Kupp's there too. He could end up with the Bills, or they even could draft someone. We'll see what they do, but I think the Bills are having a great free agency.
Also, another sneaky team, no bias, is the New York Giants.
Yeah.
I think that if you look at the team, we're making significant improvement.
Yeah.
Significant improvement.
I like that guy Chris Board for special teams. As we struggled on special teams, I like
improving the special teams.
Smith Marset was a great return.
Great
return. Gillen, I like Gillen. He's a great punter.
You ruined that one.
Gillen's a good punter. But
secondary upgraded, 100%. Offensive line got depth now. Finally, our offensive line consistently gets injured. Consistently. If we sign a guard, like a starting guard, or draft somebody, our bench is going to be Neal, James Hudson, Stone, Smythe, however you say his last name.
And Van Roden if he's not a starter.
Van Roden, too. We actually have a depth. We have a solid defensive line. We got Chauncey Golson. Keep forgetting about him, not going to lie, because there's so many other moves
really excited about him.
I'm really excited about him, too. Apparently, every website is different. ESPN said 5.5. PFF said 7 sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So
he had 5.5.
PFF said 7, though.
No, he had 5.5. I remember.
PFF said 7. Swear to God. Go to PFF.
But he had an interception and a forced fumble. I think he came off. This was like a career year. He was great on the edge. He was when he played.
He also had
great
5
pressure,
pass deflections as well.
Deflections. But to move off the Giants for a quick second, one signing I really do like for a team. Oh, weird. ESPN says he has 5.5, but one sign I really do like for a team is Justin Fields to the Jets. I don't know why. I think that's a good signing for them. I think 2 years, 40 was a good deal for them, I guess. Obviously, they needed the quarterback, and Justin Fields could work well with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, they played together at Ohio State. And maybe with Aaron Glenn as head coach, Justin Fields could find the right head coach and wide receiver that he needed to be successful.
Yeah, one thing I also have a question about is Azeez Ojulari didn't sign anywhere.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a single thing about it.
There's so many, I was looking earlier actually during class. There are so many good players who have yet to sign. Obviously, there's the Diggs, the Rodgers, the Russ, and then you go a little bit deeper. There's obviously Azeez.
Azeez is still out there.
There's still Adoree Jackson from the Giants. There's still
He's gone after.
He's gone. But I'm gonna actually save my time from guessing and just look at the people available. And you have Von Miller. You have Brandon Sheriff, Matt Judon, Shaq Mason, Zadarius Smith, C.J. Mosley, Justin Simmons, great safety. Stephon Gilmore, Defensive Player of the Year, former Defensive Player of the Year. Isaiah Simmons, Drew Lock. I wouldn't really call him. Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah.
We got Russ! Are you kidding me?
I'm kidding.
Did you know that was going to happen?
I'm walking out.
Did you know that was going to happen?
Nope.
You guys are plotting over here.
I didn't know it. I'm walking out.
You guys are plotting over here. Fuck you guys.
I'm leaving.
This is
I'm
ridiculous.
leaving him out.
Dude, I'm actually shaking. My heart, my stomach.
I did not know about that.